Hey everyone, I am Elizabeth Sherman from Total Health by Elizabeth, and what I do is I'm a health coach. I help folks, mostly women, lean into healthier habits. And so today what I wanted to talk about is something that someone requested. Melissa wrote into me asking what my tips were for getting more movement into your day if you are chained to a desk. And so I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. But first, I just wanted to let you know that I haven't always been a personal trainer, health coach. I started out my career in the computer industry. And so I know exactly what it's like to be chained to a desk. I used to do it all the time. And in fact, now that I'm working more online, I'm actually more tied to a desk or equally tied to a desk as I used to be. Now, when I was working for another company, before I started doing health coaching, I worked in a cube, and one of the things that I did at the time to help myself was I had one of those stability balls, and I actually sat on it pretty much every day. I really liked it a lot, and what that does is it prevents you from slouching, so you don't. If you're lowering your back, you want to be up on your sit bone. And so by sitting on one of those stability balls, it forces you to engage your core a little bit more. Now, I worked in the computer industry, which is full of men or boys, and I say that because every time they walked by me, they would kick my stability ball, which is so totally annoying when you're sitting there trying to work and someone walks by and just kicks it. I kind of had to yell at them a few times before they were like, oh yeah, maybe that is really obnoxious. But anyway, so I think that was about 16 years ago that I was working in the in an office, and a lot has actually changed since then in terms of employee health and engagement, ergonomics with employees. So companies are definitely becoming more aware that the health of their employees is important and that their workspaces are important as well. So some of the things that have evolved since then are one, stand-up desks. Those are really popular right now, and if you have the opportunity to do that at work, I would definitely suggest that, because anytime you're standing, you're engaging your core, you're engaging your legs, and even though you're not moving a lot, you're still using a lot more musculature, and you're definitely engaging your muscles a little bit more. So that's for sure something that's changed. Also, I think companies are getting a little bit more aware of standing up in meetings. So, when you're at a meeting and you're sitting with 12 other people, I don't think that it's that outrageous for you to get up and stand in the meeting. Of course, this is going to depend on what your company culture is like. So if your company culture is very traditional, then I think you're going to have a harder time doing that, because people kind of look at you like, what are you doing? You don't want to be part of this meeting. And of course you do. And the other thing that has changed a lot since when I was in the office environment is telecommuting is huge. And of course, with telecommuting, you have a lot more just flexibility in what it is that you can do during the day, because no one knows if you're going to get up and take a lap around the block, or take a lap around your house, or do laundry, or whatever it is that you're doing to fill in those gaps. So but what if you don't have that flexibility? What are some of the things that you can do? And this is where my top 3 tips are going to come into play. So one, if you have a Fitbit, I have my Fitbit. I love my Fitbit, but not everyone can afford one. And if you just don't want one, that's totally cool. You can use a timer. So set a timer to go off once an hour, and that's your cue to get up and move around. My Fitbit will tell me if I have taken at least 250 steps in an hour. And I find it amazing when I'm in my zone, I'm working, and all of a sudden my Fitbit will go off and I'll be like, oh my God, I haven't even taken 250 steps. 250 steps really is not that much. But when you're sitting there and you're in your zone, it can really take you out of that and hopefully get you a little bit more moving. What's funny is that generally when I'm in the zone, I really do not want to get up and get moving at all. But what's really interesting is when I do exercise, when I do move, it actually helps me to concentrate more when I do go back to my desk. So, don't be reluctant to get up and start moving, because it can really help with productivity and engagement. Next thing is become inefficient. So I know this sounds really weird, but when you're in an office environment, oftentimes you'll say, okay, I need to make all of these copies at once, or I need to do all of these things, and you start batching work. So stop batching work. When you need something to get done, do it then. Instead of emailing a client, then actually go up and, or not a client, but another employee, get up and walk to them and talk to them. That way you are, moving in your office, and you don't have to, just sit there and type. You're getting the same information. Now, again, that's going to depend on your company culture. Is it okay for people to get up and interact with one another? Some companies that I've been in, they really don't like that, but it is an option. So emailing, instead of emailing, go over and talk to your coworker. I know it's kind of crazy, isn't it? Number 3, if you are not an active participant on a conference call, you can use that opportunity to actually stretch. So, doing some stretches at your desk are definitely a possibility. So, like bringing one leg over and stretching, or just doing, I don't want to say doing squats, because depending on where you are in your cube, you may have a lot of visibility, and you might not feel comfortable, doing squats or floor stretches in your cube. It's going to completely depend on how comfortable you feel and how hidden you are in your cube area. So those are all of my 3 top tips. So 1, set a timer for every hour, and when that timer goes off, take a lap either around the office or go to the bathroom. If you're drinking a lot of water, then that shouldn't be a problem, because your bladder will tell you to get up and start moving around. Tip number 2 is become inefficient. So stop batching your work, and actually go and talk to people. So again, when you need a copy, go get a copy. Don't wait for your movement to all happen at once. And then number 3 is if you're not an active participant on a call, then go ahead and use that time to stretch. And even though you're not walking and taking steps, you're moving, and that way your lower back will, you can stretch out your lower back, you can stretch out your hamstrings. Those are all connected, and you can actually feel a little bit better. So those are my tips for getting a little bit of movement into your day if you are chained to a desk. Again, I'm Elizabeth Sherman, and I am the creator of Total Health by Elizabeth. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.